Hi, in this video, we are going to see how to integrate with Salesforce using REST-based API. So in order to do that, we'll just create a Salesforce account first, and then once the account setup, everything is done, so we are going to call that actual web service from Postman. So once that is done, we are going to call the same thing from web method as well. But this part, right, in step 1 itself, we have few things where we need to create the app, we need to create the client ID and client secret, and we have to obtain the OAuth token, and after that we have to call the actual web service. So that is what we are going to see today. I'll just start with the first step. We have to create a developer account. So I'll just go and open this particular page. I'll sign up this account. So now I'll just fill some data. I'll give my email ID. Role, I'll just give the details, and company, I'll just give some information, and country, I'll just give Singapore, and postal code, I'll just fill some data, and email ID for login, right? I'll just give the same email ID, and I'll just click yes, and I'll sign me up. So now in the notepad, right, I'll just note down what is the data I gave. So I just gave username as, I just gave this value, and now it is saying please check your email to confirm your account. So I'll just go and check my email. So I yet to receive that email. So meanwhile, what I'll do, I'll just what are the other information we need in order to connect via API. So we need password, and as of now, whatever we did a sign up, right, we just gave our email ID alone. Okay, so while confirming our account, we'll fill the password. So we need a password, and in order to access the API, right, so you need some client ID and client secret, and you need one more thing called token as well. So you need a token as well, and or we can call that as a API security token, because we are going to talk about two different token. One is API security token, and the other one is we are going to call, we are going to take OAuth token. Okay, so this OAuth token, how do we get it? So with these 5 information, we'll be getting this value. So once we get this value from this step 4, we will call the actual service with that particular token. So now we are in the first step. We signed up the account. Now I'll just go and check my email. I yet to receive that email. I'll just go and check, is that email, it is there in another folder. So it's not there. So meanwhile, I'll just try to open. So learn basics from trial. Okay, so we had to receive that email. So we'll be receiving 2 different email. One is from the trial lead, and another one is to confirm your account. So meanwhile, we cannot log in because we don't have a password, but the sign up is success. So once we have the email, right, which is coming to our, see here, the email is received. So it's saying welcome to Salesforce, verify your account. I'll just click verify account now. And also it is having our URL as well. Our Salesforce URL also it's having it. I'll just copy this also. Say my Salesforce URL, right? So initially we using this URL, we signed up the account, but this is our Salesforce login. Okay, so we have a username and we have this one, and I'll verify the account so that we will get a password, and also we'll be able to log into our platform. I'll set some password. I'm just setting like Salesforce 123456 asterisk. Salesforce 123456 asterisk. I didn't type it properly. I'll retype it. Salesforce 123457 asterisk. Okay, so it's matching. So this is the password I gave. So I'll just fill the password also. Okay, so this is my password. So here I'll just fill some security question, and I'll just give some name. I'll change my password. So now the password is set and we are able to log in as well. Okay, I'll just ignore this one. So now we are able to log in. So I'll just not allow any notification for now. I'll just close everything. So now what we have done is we have signed up our account. Okay, so that is done and we have got the password. So we need client ID and client secret. So now this one is complete. So we will, what we'll do, so we'll just do this second step after this one. Okay, so what we'll do, so we have to go to app manager. We need to create an app first because you are going to access Salesforce API. In order to access the API, so we need to create an app first because this is like many application can invoke our Salesforce API. So we wanted to track that. So we need to create an app. So it could be your mobile app or POS app. Which app is going to invoke your API? So that app name you need to create it. So I'm just going to set that up. What you do is you will have a setup button here. See here, this is a setup button. You just click that and click setup. And then in this quick find, right, you just search app and you'll have something called under apps. You will have app manager. Okay, so by default you have these 19 apps are available. So I'm just going to create new connected app. So you have two kind of app. I'm going to create new connected app. So assume I'm going to invoke Salesforce API through REST from my mobile application. Okay, so I'll just create this as a mobile app. And you just click here, the same thing will get copied and it's asking app is the app contact email ID, right? So that email ID you have to give. So I'll just give the same email ID which I use it for my login as well. So this is the app specific, who is how to contact the app owner, right? So that email ID. So I've copied my email ID and enable OAuth setting. I just click checkbox and there is something called scope. What access you wanted to give it for app? So you wanted to give all the access or you wanted to give specific access, right? I'll check this access manage your API. Okay, so I'll just move this one right side and also I'll just select one more app access which is perform request on your behalf of any time, which I wanted to refresh the token. So I'll just give that as well because in the OAuth the token will get expired after a period of some times, which we need to refresh as well. So that is why I gave both the access. Now I'll just click save. I'll just click continue. It's expecting other mandatory field as well. So there's a callback URL. For now, I'll just keep login.salesforce.com. So this URL should be some valid URLs. I'll just give this one and I'll just go and save this again and it will say it will take 10 minutes to effect. So I'll just continue. So now the app is created. So that's why you are able to see this one. And once the app is created, under the API OAuth settings, you have a consumer key, which is nothing but your client ID. You just copy that and put it into your notepad, which is your client ID. And there is a client secret. This is a consumer secret. Click to reveal and copy that value also. So you just paste it. So now we have a client ID and client secret. So we need one more value, which is API security token. So now we have completed step 2, where we created an app and we have taken the client ID, client secret from that particular page after the app creation. Now we are going to take the API security token. So in order to do that, you just go to your profile, click settings, and under your personal information, you have something called reset my security token. You just click that, click reset security token, which will send the token details to your email ID, this is not the actual OAuth token. This is the API security token. So which I'll go and check it in my inbox. See your new Salesforce security token. You just copy this token value and put it in your notepad. So now we have these 5 information. So using this 5 information, we are going to get the token information from the Salesforce web service. So this is the Salesforce web service. If you wanted to take the token, right? See here, login.salesforce.com services OAuth to token. So you have to call this web service with these data. Then that web service will give a token value, which is a OAuth token value. So once the token is obtained, then what we will do, we will call the actual service with the token value. So now we are going to do this fourth one, where we have to pass this one, grant type equal to password, client ID equal to, I need to pass this value. So I'll just copy this value, I'll put it into client ID equal to that value. And then client secret equal to, I'll just copy this client secret value and I'll put it here. And username is equal to, this is my username, right? So this is the login username for your Salesforce account. So I'll just put that login, and password is, okay, so when you give a password should be your login password plus API security token. So this is my login password, and then this is my API security token. Okay, so now I'll just copy this entire URL. I'll go to Postman, I'll open a new tab. Method should be post, and I'll just paste this one. See here, we have passed everything in a query parameter. That's why under the query parameter, it's populated now because we pasted in a URL, right? So that is coming in a Postman. I'll just click send now. See here, when I click send, it is giving a token value in the access token field, and also there is an instance URL and other information. So this is the instance URL, we received it in an email also. And also if you see Tech Lightning 5 dev, so you are login, right, with the Salesforce login, it will have the same URL as well. Okay, so now we have got the access token. So this is the token value. I'll just copy that as well. This is my token. Okay, so now we have to call actual web service. So now we have called Salesforce web service through REST using post method, which is giving a token. But actually I wanted to access some other details from my Salesforce. I'll just go and plus, and I'll just open my Salesforce. I already logged in, right? So now what I'll do, I'll just go and search accounts. Okay, so not this one. I'll just so this is the object manager, which will show the list of object manager also. So or what you can do is, now we are in the setup view. So I'll just come to, or what you can do is you just click a profile, and you will have switched to Salesforce Classic. And once you click Classic, right, you will have this view, and then you just click to this Lightning Experience, which will give the Lightning Experience view. So now here, right, I'll just go to many objects are there, opportunities, leads, task, and accounts, and other objects are there. I'm going to use this accounts. I'll just click accounts, and it's showing recently viewed, and you select all accounts. It will show all the account details. Currently there are 13 account details are there. So now I wanted to access these data from Postman or through REST-based API. How do I access it? And for this one, right, we have a URL for web service. So we need to take that. So in order to take that, right, we have some URL called I'll take that URL, 1 minute. Yeah, so we have something called workbench. So this URL also important. So this is just to understand what are the different web services that are available in Salesforce. You can use this workbench to identify that. Okay, I'll just copy this URL, and it will use the same login details, and it will show list of API version available. So I'll just leave it with 52, and I'll check this checkbox, login with Salesforce. It will use the same login. So I'm using a same login to log in into that particular workbench. See here, this is the one of the API URL. If I execute that, it will list what are the available APIs under this particular endpoint. And if you see here, there are many endpoints. For example, I wanted to access objects. There is a S objects. If you click that, it will show list of objects details. So these are the objects are available. For example, I wanted to access account object. Then I can go there. Then there is a URL here. And there are different web service URL. For example, I wanted to use this account object. Okay, so for example, account ID, I wanted to pass it. Then what I can do, so I can click this one and pass the account ID, then it will give the results. So now I'll just go back and I'll just account object URL account, I'll just click. Okay, so maybe it will give the recent item. So there is nothing recently added, so that's why it's not showing anything. So if I wanted to add something, right, for example, I'll add something. So I'm just going to create a new account. I'll just name this as account name, right? I'll just say my demo. Okay, so my current date is 5th September. I'll just put that date, my demo underscore 5th September 2021. And then there are many informations are there. So if you wanted to fill some phone number, right? For example, I wanted to fill some phone number. Just say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So this is my phone number. And I wanted to fill some address. Okay, so I'll just say my country or details, right? City and country, I'm filling it. And what other information we can fill? There's a website. Okay, so I can fill my website. So I'll just say Tech Lightning. And similarly, right, so you can fill all other details and you can save it. So now the account will get created. So this is my account, my demo. And if I go to accounts page again, right, which will show my account as well. So this is the recently viewed selected. So that's why the recently whatever we added, it's coming. Now I'll select all accounts. It will show. Earlier we saw 13, right? Now we will be able to see 14 because the 7th one, right, the one which I added, it's coming here. And similarly, I wanted to fill some state, right? For example, I wanted to fill the state as CA and customer detail. There's a type for customer, which I wanted to fill. I'll say I'm the technology partner. Okay, so these kind of details. So I have filled so many information now. Okay, and whatever the phone we have filled it, that is coming in this view. So these are the details available under the accounts. So now we open the workbench, and if I go accounts, because this is the API URL, recent item, you will be able to see my demo because that's the one we have added, and this is the ID. This is a name and this ID. For example, if I wanted to access that object, I have to pass that ID. This is my web service URL. For example, I wanted to get the data, right? I'll just copy this URL and I'll just put it into this get, right? And I'll just remove this, and this is my URL. And again, right, so when you call the token, right, when you retrieve the token or when you get the token from the API, right, you have an instance URL as well. You can copy that URL because that is your URL for your Salesforce organization. So you put that URL in the front. So now you have a URL and also your web service endpoint with your ID, account ID. I'll send this request. It will ask for a token because this service we need to pass the token. So you just go to headers, add authorization, bearer, space, and you just copy the token value. You can copy it from here or you can copy it from your notepad, which you have already copied. Because this token is valid for a few hours, so we can use the same thing. And I just pasted that value. Okay, it's not copied properly. I'll copy again. I'll paste it. Now I'll send the request. Invalid session ID, bearer authorization. I'll just check what is the token value, right? I'll just take it from here. Oh, there's a dot. I'm not sure dot also. I just copied here. See here, while copying a token, I didn't copy completely. The dot also, this as part of the token only, which I didn't copy earlier. So now I'll just copy again. Now I copied with the actual token value. If I click send, it will give a response. See here, the response is coming from Salesforce. So it's giving ID and it's having name and type. We gave it as a technology partner. City, state I gave CA, country I gave as Singapore. That value is coming, and also other than that, I gave the phone number also, right? So that phone number also will come, which will start from 65, right? See here, the number is coming. So this way, you can access your entire account details. So because I'm just giving only the account ID. So if you wanted to pass the entire thing might come. Okay, so this is one of the service. Similarly, any web service which is available in your Salesforce, you will be able to access through this way. So what we have done, we call the actual web service. Initially, we create an account. Then we create an app to get the token client ID and client secret. Then we took the API security token from our settings page, and then using a token web service we obtain the token, and then we call the actual web service through the by passing the bearer and the token information. So this way we can call any web service in Salesforce. So similarly, right, so we wanted to access some other web service. So for example, I'll just copy this URL. So this is your entire thing, right? You remove it, execute, so it will show the list of things, and you have something called query. Query all is there, query is there. So this is a query URL. So for example, I wanted to copy query. This is one of the endpoint. I wanted to pass that. After your organization name, I'll just put it in a new one, and then I'll just copy my URL, which is my organization URL. I'll put that in front. So now this is the endpoint. For this endpoint, I know this as a input like this, okay, where we can pass any query, Salesforce query, in order to obtain the data. For example, I wanted to pass this value, select ID, name, phone from account object. Okay, so now I'll try to run it. So I didn't pass a token value, which I'll copy from the previous page. Copy, and then I'll just put it here in the headers. Authorization. And then value. Oh, it copied the entire value, so I'll just copy only this one. Headers. Okay, I'll type it, bearer, and then token, I'll take it from this post method. Bearer space you have to give, and then you have to give a token value. It's not copied properly. So I'll just go and copy it again. I copied, I control C, and now I'll come here and control V. Yeah, so I'll just send it now, which will give ID, name, phone value. See here, ID, name, phone value. So sample account for enrichment and my demo. So this is my phone number. Okay. So this way it is listing all the data from the account object, because account object has 14 records. Those 14 records are coming here with the query which we have passed, because I want only ID, name, phone. So that value is coming. So how do we know these field names, right? If you go to the workbench, and if you wanted to check any field name from that particular object, right, just execute it and go to object, and for example I wanted to go to accounts object, okay, and I wanted to understand what are the fields they have, account and URL, and there is something called described. So if you click described, it will show, this API will show list of fields. See, these are the field names, ID, name, parent, phone number. So this way you can have that value retrieved via API as well. So now what we have done, so we have integrated, or we call the Salesforce API through REST, so which we verified through Postman. Now in this one we are going to the step 2. So how to call these web services from web methods. Okay, so in order to do that, I'll just open the designer, and I'll just create my new project, or I'll just create a new package. I'll name this package as my Salesforce REST API. Okay, so I'll just copy this one. I'll click finish, and I'll just click new folder. I paste this one. I just created the main folder name also as a same package name, and I'll just create services folder. Now what I'm going to do is, we are going to call two different web services. The same thing whatever we did in a Postman, right? First what we did, so we called one web service to obtain a token. Second, we call the account one, right, with the token value. The same thing we are going to do from web methods. So we are going to call two web services, right? So in order to call web services, what we will do, so we just create a flow service, right? So I'll just create a flow service. Flow service, I'll just say what we are going to do. So we are going to get some tokens, right? So I'll just get, finally we are going to get some account details only. So I'll just say my flow service name is get account details. Click finish, and I'm just going to have that as an empty flow. And I'll just click finish. So now I'm just going to insert, invoke, and I'm going to WM public package pub client HTTP. Where is HTTP? Yeah. So using this, we can call any REST-based web service. So URL, right? First we are going to get the token. So first URL, you go to the post method, and this is your URL. Till token is a web service URL, because the remaining things are your argument or your query parameter. So I'll just pass the URL. So URL will start with the HTTPS, and entire URL is there till token, and then method. So method is post here. See here, the method is post, that you need to mention. And then we need to pass these 5 parameters. Okay, so there are 5 parameters. We need to pass it in a query parameter, which I'll create it, which will come under this data. Under argument, you need to create those 5 fields. Grant type, and I'll create a new field, string. Client ID is a field name. I'll rename this field as client underscore ID. I'll copy this one, client secret, insert. I didn't copy properly. Client underscore secret, username. Username. The next field is password. So these 5 fields you need to pass it. I created wrong place. So you have to select that argument, and then you have to create the new field. Password is a field. So now we have created a field, so we need to pass the value. So grant type value is password. That is what we gave it in that input, right? And client ID, just copy and paste it. So here we are just hard coding it, but in the real implementation, you will take it from the configuration value, client secret. So we will have some property file or some file stored there. We will have all these configuration, because these values will get changed for each environment. Username and password. So password will be your login password plus API security token. It didn't copy properly. I'll just go and copy again. Okay, it's copied now. So now this service, whatever it's required for this service input, we copied everything. And other than that, we didn't pass content type. Okay, so these are the 5 parameters we passed it. So now this will give a results in a bytes format, because the body bytes only will get the data. So we need to convert that to string, because bytes we cannot read it. So I'll just convert that to string. Invoke WM public pub, as it is related to bytes to string. So maybe it will be there in a string folder, byte to string. So this is the built-in service to convert your byte value to string. So I'll just take that from our output, which is bytes, which is coming under the body bytes, which I mapped, and it is giving a string value. Now this is a string value, so which will have all these 6 data, correct? So this, when we invoke a web service, it is coming this JSON. So now this JSON, right, I wanted to take only the access token. So we need to map this into some structure. So in order to create the structure, right, I'll just take this value, I'll just store this as some sample JSON. Okay, I just pasted this value. I'm going to save this in my document folder. I'm just going to name this as this is a token response, right? Token response.json. I'm just going to save this as a token response JSON. I'll save it. So now what I'll do, I'll just create a documents, new document folder, and I'll just create a new document structure, new document type. I'll say this is a token response, or yeah, token response next, and I'm just going to use a JSON in order to create the document type. I'll click next. It is asking a sample, which I'll browse it from my document folder, and this is my JSON. I'll click next, and I'll click finish. It will create the structure for you. See here, all 6 fields got created. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just having all the data as a string. So entire this data, whatever we have, right? So I'll just I don't save it. So entire data, right? I accidentally clicked this link, so that's why it's open. So the entire data, we want only the access token. Now entire data is available in a string, which we need to map it to the structure. So in order to do that, I'll just go invoke. There is a built-in service to convert that string value to, or convert that JSON value to document structure. Go to WM public and JSON folder and JSON string to document. So this service which will help to convert this JSON value which is coming in the string field to a document structure. So instead of converting to this document, I'm just going to map it to this document, which I'll drag and drop it here. Okay, so this I'll say token response token, or I'll say token web service response. This document I'll just try to map it. And this document I don't need it, I'll drop it. So now I'll just come to, I'll save this one, come to my service, HTTP. So I don't need URL method, whatever fields not required output of this service, right? Output of this flow step, I'll just drop it. URL method, data I don't need it, encoded URL I don't need it, I'll drop everything. So after this step, I'll have only header and body. By using that, we can see the service has been invoked successfully or not, and also you'll have a data in a bytes format. Then the bytes value I'm just converting to string, so I don't need anymore this bytes value, and also I don't need this body. Anyway, I know already by this step itself I know what is the response it's coming from my HTTP, so I'll drop that as well. So I need only the JSON. So the JSON string is there, so whatever the JSON string I don't need it, I'll drop it, and I will get all the data in my token response. So now what we need is, with this access token we are going to call the second web service, correct? So in order to do that, I'll just call again a HTTP service which is going to call our second service, where we need this token value. I'll just copy this token value, and where we need to pass, how do we pass it? So we went here, we have added a header which is a HTTP header. We have added a key called authorization. So I'll just copy this authorization field, and I'll just create a new field under the headers called authorization. So now this value, you have to pass it this exactly this value. So you just copy that, you will pass it like bearer space, see here, bearer space that token value, which is nothing but your OAuth token value. Okay, so you don't pass it like actual token value, so you remove that. You just copy bearer space, and you just close this one, and you just copy this token value, because in our flow itself, when we call the first web service which is giving the access token, so that token we need to pass it. Why? Because this token will get changed every few hours, so that's why we need to update that. So I'm just taking the runtime variable and I'm substituting here, and you select this perform checkbox because we are substituting a variable, and give OK now. So now the second web service is called, and it's giving header and body, which I need to convert, right? So I'll copy these two things again. Okay, so string is copied, which is coming, which is a second web service response, okay, and which is coming in a string, and that is getting mapped to, I'll remove this one because we want in a document format. Okay, I'll save this now. I'll add one more map step because I'm going to debug and show. So I'll add one more map step so that it will be easy to show the results. I'll save everything. So now I'm just going to run this, debug this service, debug flow service, give OK, switch the perspective. See here, I invoke the first flow step, which is giving 200 OK, which means it's able to call that URL with the required all 5 fields: grant type, client ID, client secret, and you have a username and password, all the details, right? With that, it's able to successfully invoke, and it gave this result as bytes, which I'm converting to string now. See here, the second step I executed it, which is giving all these 6 data, access token, and you have a instance URL and other stuffs. So now I'll just debug further which is giving a document. See, this is a structure we have mapped it. So which is having access token, instance URL, ID, token type. So all these 6 fields, right? Whatever we earlier we used to receive it from this post method, it's coming from web method response as well. Now I'm just calling the second one. Oh, second one I didn't pass the URL and method. So I'll stop this now. The debugging I'll stop it because we didn't complete the development itself. The second one we didn't pass the URL. So this is the URL for my get web service, right? So I'll pass this URL. So here I am passing account ID, but in the runtime, in your actual flow, you will pass this value dynamically. Okay, so now I'm just hard coding it. Method, it's a get method, and token value is there, right, in the bearer. Okay, I'll save this one now. I'll debug it again. I'll give OK. The first service we are calling, which is giving a token. So that's why you are able to see the token response now. Oh, it's giving invalid client ID, client. Okay, I'll just check what is wrong. Invalid client ID, client identifier invalid. Okay, I'll just end this one now. We didn't change anything, right? So I'll just go and check from our Postman itself just to see this is working or not, right? I'll just try to run this one. It's working only, okay? So I'll just try to run it again or debug it again. Debug flow service. Because earlier it was working, right? So it should work. So maybe if something we dropped accidentally, then it will not. 400 bad request. So it's not working. I'm just going to see what is wrong. HTTP URL we changed accidentally anything here? No, nothing here, right? So this is token service, method is post, argument, grant type password, client ID, the same thing, right? 3MV and client secret 747 and tech lightning demo. So username and password is these two. Everything is coming. And we are dropping this URL, method, data, right? I'll just come to designer back. I'll debug. Because earlier we are getting a token in our structure. Just checking header. Yeah, it's giving 200. So maybe some error came in between. So we're getting 200 now. So I'll just go for the access token. It's coming. Also we are getting a token response, which is having access token. Using this, we are calling a second service, which is giving a header, right? I'll just check what is the header value. It's giving 200. The second web service also, it's working fine. And I'll just go further and it's giving a response. See here, it's giving our account details. And I'll just convert that to document. Then you will be able to see the document structure. See here, this is a document structure which is giving a name as my demo because this is account name. And account type is technology partner, billing city, state, which whatever I gave, right? And that's coming. And also phone number, it's coming. The entire account fields, all the fields are coming. Okay, so this way you can call any web services from web methods for Salesforce. So this example, right? So mainly what we have seen now, how to call a web service through REST and also how to call a web service through some OAuth token, right? So how to pass the authorization key, how to pass the value like bearer space the actual token value. So that we have seen today. And only thing is while calling all these flows, we have called or we have hard-coded all these URL, username and password, everything in a hard-coded way, right? In actual development environment, we will be taking those from our configuration file. So now if something is not required, you can drop it. Okay, so now I'll just stop this one. I'll try to run and I'll just drop whatever is not required also. So I'll just last map step I'll do. So this URL, token, response method, document alone needed. So in the actual implementation in this document also we will map it to the meaningful structure. The account sample, right? The JSON, we know if you have a actual structure, we import the structure and create the equivalent IS document type. That document type we will map it. Then in that case it will get mapped properly. So I'll just run it end to end instead of debug so that you'll be able to see the result. So this service is getting account details. See here, account details are coming. So this is my name and partner and city, state and other details, right? Whatever I gave, everything is coming. So now here we used only the URL specific to my account ID. So if you give everything, right, if you want to use query or if you want to use other web service URL in order to get any details from Salesforce, so you can identify that from workbench and you can pass that. So here in this particular demo, we have created an account. So we have created the app, we have generated the access token or API token, everything, right? So normally these data, right, so whatever we captured in our notepad for these 5 data, right, it will be given by our Salesforce team itself. So we no need to worry about that, and using which we will just call a app web service in order to get the token, and using the token we will call the actual web service. Thank you. Hi, thank you for watching this video so far. If you like the video, please share it with your friends and also subscribe to this Tech Lightning channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.